Well, well, well. Look who freshly curled her hair and is ready to film for the whole day today. It is 8 a.m. I was not ready to film before the coffee kicked in, so I hope you enjoyed whatever little montage that I did wind up filming. I'm now ready to actually socialize, but until that coffee kicks, don't even think about it. I thought we would do a little day in my life because in my day job, I'm a climate scientist, but I also balance it with trying to be an aspiring author. I think I'm actually an unusual case. I would like to be traditionally published, but my goal is actually not to be like a full-time author. So if you don't know, I have a PhD in ecology and evolutionary biology, and I work as a climate scientist. I've worked for the majority of my life to like get a PhD and become a scientist. I feel like a lot of authors, they want it to be their full-time job. Like for me, I write, I think, a little bit more than a hobbyist would because I would eventually like to get published. I would like for that to be part of my career holistically, but I have worked so hard and I love my job, and I love the fact that I'm working with data and I'm coding and I'm working on really important, impactful problems in my day job. Like I never want to give that up, and I actually really love what I do. Writing is this more creative side of my brain that I really enjoy as well. I need to do my makeup, otherwise we're never gonna get out of here. Also, just so you know, like this, I'm doing this for filming. Normally, I roll out of bed. I do my hair. Because I work from home, I walk around looking like a gremlin all the time, and doing my hair is the one thing that makes me feel semi-human. So I actually do my hair pretty much every day, but I do not wear makeup. I wear makeup the days that I film, and that's it. So enjoy. And like, obviously, like if it's a dream and you like make it big by writing a bestseller, like sure, that's amazing, but I also think I'm a very sensitive person, and I think my stress levels would be way too high if I ever made writing kind of like my full-time job. If my income depended on writing, like I think that would stress me out way too much, and I like my career, and so I don't want to give that up as well. Okay, let me do my mascara. I will check in with you guys when I'm sitting at my desk. This is gonna be kind of like the real, genuine, authentic version of my day. The only thing that is different is I am actually wearing makeup because I'm filming, and I am indeed wearing sweatpants because if you thought that I was working from home and I was gonna wear any sort of tight or constricting pants, my God, you were wrong. I'm ready to get to work. I usually start work between like 8 and 8:30 a.m. And this morning I actually have a bunch of meetings today. Interesting, maybe I should have chosen a different day to film. But today is gonna kind of be like a no filter look at how my days are, and to kind of show you how I do balance a 9 to 5 with writing. It is what I like to call nether week, the week between Christmas and New Year's, where time does not exist, but alas, we need to log on. What I'm actually gonna do before I get my day started is this thing that I've been doing for the past several years, actually. I have what I call here my brain dump notebook. And what my brain dump notebook is, every single day I create a new page. I dump every single thing that is in my brain that is stressing me out, that I'm thinking about, that is taking space in my head, out on a piece of paper. If it's something like take the trash out, or even if it's something big like I need to complete this work assignment or upload to YouTube or something like that, like it all goes in this brain dump notebook. I then prioritize and I assign tasks to like low, medium, high priority. I focus on high priority tasks. I make a checklist of everything that needs to get done today. I'm gonna go ahead and do my brain dump notebook for the day. Okay, I have a meeting at 10:40, and then I have another meeting at 11:30. And what I thought we would also do is I'm going to make myself some lunch. I asked you guys 2 weeks ago some Q&As, so I have a bunch of questions that we're gonna answer as I eat my lunch. That was a Q&A to celebrate 500 subscribers. As of today, we are at 832 subscribers, which is so wild. Just amazing. Thank you guys so much. I'm so excited to answer those questions and eat lunch with you. It is noon. I had 2 meetings today and I was able to get a bit of work done. I heated up this chicken noodle soup that my husband made and it is so good. But what I thought would be fun to do during my lunch break is to answer some of your questions. And we have a few of them, so let's go through. I'm gonna try to answer most of them. From the Truth Hugger, can you talk more about the difference between draft 0, first draft, and dialogue first draft? Yes, and that is an excellent question. A draft 0 is a rough, unstructured, unedited, very early draft of a manuscript for me. So it's basically where I tell myself the story. It's not going to be legible for like anybody else. It lets me get my ideas of the story out on the page so that I can use it later for a cleaner draft. What is a first draft? To me, a first draft, disclaimer for how I'm defining it, there isn't necessarily a super consistent way in which these terms are defined across the writing community. It can oftentimes vary between writer to writer, which is kind of what can make it very confusing, but this is how I'm defining it. A first draft in my mind is a draft of the story where it's still kind of early, but it is a cleaner draft of a story. I think a lot of people just use the term draft 0 as a way to kind of like take the pressure off of like, okay, it's not a first draft. Like first draft doesn't have to be perfect. Draft 0 doesn't have to be perfect, but a first draft can also be the first time you're writing through something. Maybe you're writing it with an outline, maybe not. Draft 0 is not like the fully fleshed out story, whereas a first draft is the fully fleshed out story that might be going through revisions later and might have substantial edits later. It's like actually book shape, have a little bit more structure, a little bit more editing, I would say. A dialogue draft is exactly what it sounds like. It's basically where you're taking the book and you're writing it from the dialogue standpoint. So you're getting rid of description, action, most things, and you're kind of writing the draft like it's a screenplay. And the reason that I find it so helpful, it really forces you to look at how the dialogue is propelling the book forward. Is there subtext? Is there character motivation? Is there information in the dialogue that is getting the characters to the next point that they need to go to solve the next problem that they have to? And I find it super helpful because it makes you really distill those things down for dialogue. And because you're purely focusing on dialogue, you're also going to be working on trying to make that dialogue sound more realistic, but also make sure that there are differences between how these two characters are talking, for example. So that is the difference between a 0 draft, a first draft, and a dialogue draft. Okay, I'm gonna eat a little. So good. This question is from Skipper Writes 268. Do you have a muse when you write? Like how fashion designers have a muse, maybe a book that made you want to write what you are working on. Excellent question. I do. One of the biggest muses that I have for this book, Pretend the Earth Doesn't Call, that I'm working on is Once There Were Wolves by Charlotte McConaughey. I don't think that I would have a muse like a person like many fashion designers or artists have, but definitely Once There Were Wolves was a really eye-opening and beautiful book for me, along with The Fifth Season by N.K. Jemisin. The way that inspiration works for me and muse is I'm taking it to interpret it like inspiration. I think that there's a lot of things that like really intrigue me and interest me, and a really big thing is how humans relate to nature. This is actually very appropriate for this video considering it's a day in my life and I'm a climate scientist. There is a lot of discourse around humans and nature where we remove humans from the nature equation. We act as if human beings are not part of nature, where in fact we evolved alongside with nature. Quite a few books about intersectionality and class and how those relate to nature and relate to the natural world that are really fascinating. This could be like a whole video essay, but I'm going to try to distill it down as much as I can. I think a lot of the times, because we can feel so far removed from nature, we take for granted the fact that every single thing that we have in our homes around us, all of that has been mined, all of that has been transformed, processed, so that it is so far removed from that original source, when that original source is always going to be the earth. I think that there are so many amazing writers out there that really investigate cli-fi, which is climate fiction, or the eco-fantasy, which is ecological fiction space. And because my scientific background is in that, I think I just have a lot of things to say about it. it. And it's a space that I'm really interested in investigating, specifically in fiction, because in science, you really have to be objective and listen to what the data tells you. But there is this whole other component, this emotional component, and this like creative component that really intrigues me, that makes me want to incorporate that into my books. And so I think that is like a huge muse for me in understanding how like the science and the society and how humans and the natural world really relate to one another. And I really hope that that's like a huge part of my books. Yeah, so that's a big muse. That's a great question. The Truth Hugger also asked another question: tips on creating a good writing space when you have limited room. That is a great question. I live in a very small apartment. It's basically one big room with a kitchen, a living room, my office, and then we have a separate room for our bedroom. It is honestly really, really hard to separate spaces, especially if you just don't have that much space. What I would really recommend, I don't know if you've ever heard the term sleep hygiene, but it's essentially like you use your bed, it's just for sleeping, like don't use your phone in your bed. I very much use that for different spaces in the apartment. My work desk is like purely a working zone. I will write in that desk space, but it's like a working zone. And then I have a space on the couch, and that is like my writing zone. So I have these like different zones in my apartment. Whatever you can do to try to make it pleasant, you're conditioning your brain to switch and pivot to the specific task at hand. That's what I would really recommend that you do. So when I have my work desk, I have like my coffee, my to-do list, I have everything spread out in front of me. Whereas when I'm in my writing spot on my couch, I'll light a candle, I'll get some tea, I'll put an ambient like fireplace and music, lo-fi on the television to kind of try to like switch my brain into, okay, this is like relaxation, creativity mode. So whatever you can do to kind of make different zones within the smaller space feel separate so that your brain can feel like, okay, I'm going to channel into this one task, like that is what I would really recommend. But it is really hard. And a lot of days, I'm not gonna lie, I'm very much like, I need a separate space because it's really exhausting to cook, work, relax, write in one big room. So I really feel for you. It is not easy. I hope that advice helps. From Jemmy Ray Books, I love you, Jemmy. If you could set up a writing retreat, what would it entail? She said many questions within one LMAO. Like, what's the dream location? How long will you be gone? Where are you writing? What do you need to make it successful? Are you solo or have someone with you? Do you have outside activities, or would you like to keep it cozy and productive? Okay. Such a fun question. I love this. I think my ideal writing retreat location would be like Maine or Vermont. Anywhere that I would be cozied up in the woods. It could be winter or summer. I would want to be like in the woods somewhere. Like I don't think I would want to be on the beach. Maybe on a lake. Like that would be really nice. I think it depends if I'm with someone. If I'm with someone, I think I would want to make it like a week long. If I'm alone, I think I'd want to make it like a long weekend. I would be writing on a kitchen table, or like on a couch, or even better, in like a big cozy chair. And ideally there would be a fireplace or like a wood burning stove. What do I need to make it successful? I think I would really want to unplug. I think I would want no Wi-Fi, and I would want some books and some good company and some good food. And ideally, I think I'd really want to have like another writing friend with me, just because I think that that's so much fun to be able to bounce back and forth with ideas. I think I'd want to go hiking in the woods for maybe like an hour and then spend the rest of the time either like cooking, writing, or reading. Keep it cozy, keep it productive. So that is like my ideal writing retreat. That is such a good question, Jemmy. Thank you. Second to last question from Becca. What is the one thing about your writing you are most proud of, i.e. routine, prose, creating idea, etc.? That's a really good question. I think the biggest thing that I'm proud of about my writing is honestly consistency. I've been writing consistently for 4 or 5 years. Yeah, like I've been writing consistently since 2020. So I'm really proud of myself for that. There have been points where I've really felt like, oh, you're not good at this. Like this is so hard. This is so complicated. Like you're never gonna write something that's good enough. No matter what, like I just kind of kept showing up. I think partially because I'm a little bit obsessive and I love writing. So maybe it's a little bit just like the consistency, but also I found this thing that I'm like really passionate about, that I'm willing to show up consistently, even if a couple weeks or even a couple months have gotten me down. I would love to say, you know, I have a book finished, but we'll get there. We'll get there. Last question, and then I'm actually gonna eat my lunch. From Faith N writes, What is your favorite thing about writing? That is such a good question. I love so much about it, which is why I've been doing it for so long, but I think it is such an immensely captivating outlet. And what I mean by that is it lets me get my own emotions out on the page, but then at the same time, it's like a puzzle that you need to figure out how to make it work. It's so funny because I was just watching a Brandon Sanderson talk, and he actually equated writing to coding and like programming. That's like 90% of what I do in my day job. He basically was like, writing and coding are kind of like the same thing because you are trying to figure out a puzzle and trying to figure out a problem. And I really resonated with that because I was like, I never thought about it like that, but actually like that is pretty spot on. Like there's a problem that you have to solve and you have to figure out how to write it. It's the same thing in coding and in writing. The thing that I love the most about writing is the feeling of like I can solve a problem and I can solve a puzzle with this very logical part of my brain, but then at the same time it like tickles the emotional part of my brain and like that very creative part of my brain that really feels like it fuels personal stories that I feel really resonate. I think the thing that I love the most about writing is that it's a confluence between problem solving and logic and emotion. Yeah, that's such a good question. Thank you for asking. Those are all my questions. Thank you so much for those who submitted questions. I'm gonna go ahead and finish my lunch because I've barely eaten any of it. And then we have 2 more meetings this afternoon. And then tonight we are gonna write some more, which I'm very excited about. I'm almost at the inciting incident. I have 1 more scene to write before I can write the inciting incident. Let's go ahead, finish our food, then finish work, and then we get to write. I'm so excited. It's like 2:30. I'm almost done. Almost done with the work day. I am just gonna like recycle some coffee. I don't know if this happens to you guys, but every day at like 2:33, I hit a slump. I just hit such an energy slump and like I need caffeine or a snack or something. I'm trying to get more protein in my diet, so I've actually been trying to put some of this in my coffees. They're Core Power from Fairlife Elite, so there's 42 grams of protein, which is like pretty sick. Oh, so good. Back to work. Let's go. So I can't go out, but it's literally stunning outside. We're gonna go for a little stroll after I'm done with work, I think. Hello? Oliver, I'm having a conversation. Okay, I'm done with work for the day. I had so many meetings today. I think I had like 5 meetings today. I was productive, which is great, but this is what happens to me at the end of the workday. 1, I drink absolutely no water. 2, I go through like a lull in the afternoon and it still hits me, and then I have dinner and I get like a little creative bump. But right now, it's definitely, we're in a little bit of a lull. I think what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go outside because it's actually gorgeous outside. It is 50 degrees out. We've had single-digit degree days the past several weeks. So I'm gonna go enjoy the weather. I'm not gonna take you guys with me. I'm sorry, I know this is a day in a life. I'm gonna have 2 dogs, I'm gonna go on a walk. I'm gonna come back, my husband's gonna come home, we're gonna eat some dinner, and then we're gonna write. And I have been looking forward to writing all day. All day, I'm so excited. I'm not there yet, but I'm about to write the scene before the inciting incident, and things are about to get like really crazy, and I've just been really vibing with this book right now. We're gonna go for a walk. That walk was great, except for little Ollie boy over here decided to be a psycho. That was interesting. I made it just before the sun started setting, which is very lucky timing. What I'm gonna do now is I'm gonna prep dinner. My husband already cooked the dinner. All I really need to do is heat it up. I'm not gonna lie, I feel very brain dead right now. Writing might be a little bit of a struggle tonight, but I like to use like the next like 2 hours to kind of just like unwind a little bit because I like my job, but I have to concentrate. Concentration's hard. And yeah, I'm just feeling really drained. But this usually is what happens between like 3 p.m. and 5 p.m. I'm just like, I feel like a potato. I'm really happy I went on that walk though. It did feel really, really nice. Don't make fun of me. I mean, you can, who cares? I go to sleep really early, so I'm in bed at like 9:30. So it's 4:30 right now, which means I have like 5 hours left of my day. So what's on the agenda is I'm gonna kind of chill, try to like unwind. Maybe I'll go hang out on my phone for a little bit. Maybe I'll read a little bit. I'm gonna warm up dinner. My husband usually gets home around 5:30. We're gonna eat dinner. We're gonna watch a bit of the 5th Harry Potter movie. And then usually from around like 6:30 to 9:30 is just like me time. I write. I'm gonna swap out, I think, the keyboard that I've been working on and type on like the fun rainbow keyboard. And yeah, we'll see how much words I get, but I feel a little brain dead right now. I'm not gonna lie. Ooh, you know what? I'm gonna make some tea. I'm gonna drink some water, sit on my phone and chill for a little bit, and then heat up dinner, and then try to summon the energy to write. I'm at a great scene. This is like a big scene and fun things are like about to happen. I'm like on the cusp of starting the story. Ari, let's go. Let's go. Let's make some tea. I lied. I didn't spend time on my phone. I've been editing my vlog, so that's what I've been doing for the past 40 minutes. I felt like I lied to you guys. This is me right now. We're just editing. This is so meta because you're watching me watching me, editing me. That's weird. It's weird. Okay, I'm gonna put dinner in the oven and stop hyper fixating on this vlog. This is my ADHD. I made a whole cup of tea and it's just been sitting on the counter and I haven't drank it. It's probably cold. Okay, it's not hot, but it's not cold. So I'm gonna take that as a win, okay? I should also probably do the dishes, but that's a tomorrow morning Ari problem, so. Okay, it is 8:15. I've written about 550 words so far. I still have about an hour left on my Forest app, so I'm gonna keep writing. And then around 9:15, I'm gonna go ahead and get into bed and read a little, and I think I will have gotten about 1,000 words. So, right on track. So I'm pretty sure we're about to get up to the inciting incident, which means we're already halfway through Act 1. That's crazy. In total, wow, I've actually written a lot. I've written 14,351 words so far in December. So it's gonna probably be about like an 100,000 word manuscript, which like totally makes sense for a fantasy novel. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead, I'm gonna keep writing. We still have an hour left to go. So I'll check in with you soon. My Forest timer went off and we wrote 1,200 words tonight. I'm not done with the scene yet, but we're almost at the inciting incident and I think it was a really successful day of writing. So thank you for keeping me company during my day, and as always, thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe. I'll see you in the next one.